Hi there, have you checked Altenew's latest release? Come join me and I'll show you a fun way to combine a few of them into an autumn-inspired new project that you are going to love. So see you in a bit. Hi there, and welcome to a new episode of Inspired by a Card with Natalie. Today we're going to be working with the new Bright Blooms, Crispy Leaves, checkerboard tiles, and a few more products to create an autumn field inspired layout. So the inspiration actually comes from this card from Samantha Frimer from the blog Hope, and I'm going to use it to kind of serve me as a starting point for my layout. So what I love about the card is that she actually used ink and the checkerboard tile stencil to create her background. So I'm gonna borrow her idea, but remember I'm creating a layout in this case for my 6x8 album. That means it's gonna be quite a bit bigger than what the card is. So I am going to use the checkerboard and elongate the design. That means that I'm going to have to mask some of this to prevent like the contamination of the color outside of the area that I want to use. So I am using my sticky mat to hold my paper in place, and then I'm going to use the alignment pieces that you get in your stamp wheel too, and some satin tape to help me mask the area. Once I have that in place, I'm going to go ahead and start adding color. I want to create kind of a soft gradient of color on my background using the checkerboard tiles stencil. So I'm going to start with mid yellow on the bottom left corner of my paper. You can see that I'm going to be kind of heavy with the application. I want it to be very yellow saturated, just because I want to create that gradient of color and kind of like fade as it goes towards the center of the page. So you're going to see that I'm adding quite a bit of pressure. I'm going over some of the areas, just kind of saturating the area. Once I am done with like the width of the stencil, I'm actually going to move it. That's where the stencil comes really handy because the pattern repeats. So I'm able to set it back in place. I'm using a ruler to leave a space between, like, the bottom of the page. Again, I'm using the alignment pieces to help me keep this masked and clean. And then I'm just going to apply color. You're going to see how slowly I am using the mid yellow fresh dye ink, but I am softening the application. When I'm done, we're going to say around a half of the application from the bottom towards the top of the stencil. I am going to switch to, this is Pink Sunset, if I'm not mistaken, and I just want something really like a nice soft orange that is going to marry the two corners together. So I'm lightly applying it. Again, I'm going really soft, and I'm gonna saturate it as I go up to the stencil. Now what you gotta keep in mind too is that the stencil is only 6 inches in height. My paper is 8.5 inches. That means that I have to make up the difference at the top. That means that I'm gonna have to shift the stencil once again, move it higher so that I can achieve the entire width and length of my paper. I'm going to help with my ruler. I'm going to help with the alignment pieces just to keep that mask, and then you're going to see that I'm going in with Canyon clay, and I'm going to start adding a little bit more pressure to saturate this color a little bit more, especially on the top right corner of the paper, which is the opposite of where I have the saturated yellow color. So I'm kind of created that ombre effect throughout my page, and I'm taking advantage of the corners to just kind of cap my paper and also give me the perfect spot to where I'm going to add my florals. So I'm just taking my time. You're gonna see that I'm using a mini ink blending brush, and that helps to just kind of control where I'm placing my area and also the amount of ink that I'm applying. It's a smaller surface, so I'm able to add more ink in a smaller space. So I'm just gonna take my time. Once I have it done, I am going to set it aside to dry completely before I use it. While that is drying, I'm gonna start working on the florals that you're gonna need for this layer. So you're gonna see when I'm just applying it, I am going to show you what the paper looks like finished. And like I said, I'm gonna set it aside to dry, and then I am going to use the Brightly Blooms layer and die set and also the Crispy Leaves die set to cut my florals and my leaves. Now I use quite a bit of cardstock, so let me tell you what I use, because I actually brought it here to make it easier for you. So I cut all my leaves from, not all my leaves, from Reindeer Moss, Warm Sunshine, also from Caramel Toffee, and coral bliss. So that's what the colors that I use for my leaves. Now for my flowers, I am using buttercream, I am using warm sunshine, and I am using rouge, and the centers are green gold and espresso. So I've got all my pieces following the layer and die. And then one of the things that I want to do is that I want to add color to the center of the flowers. Not a lot, just like a little bit of like a different tone, just to accent the center. And the reason that I'm doing this is because this is going to lay flat on my page. I am not going to give it a lot of like dimension. Usually when I create a card, I like to use like a fold the edges a bit, but because it's going to be on my album, I'm going to keep it nice and flat. So that means that I'm going to add the dimension that I need using ink. So you're going to see that I'm using mid yellow for my yellow flowers. Is that for the buttercream and the warm sunshine? I'm adding a little bit of the mid yellow, and then on top of it a little bit of toasted mauve. Then for the rouge flowers, I'm going to add a little bit of pastel sunrise and a little bit of toasted mauve. Then I'm going to go into coloring my leaves because I want to have those very saturated leaves. They're kind of the transition of the colors. So I am going to add a little bit. Again, I'm going to use the same colors. I'm going to use some mid yellow, I'm going to use some toasted mauve, I'm going to use some canyon clay, and then I'm also going to bring evergreen because I want to get that rich green. And you're gonna see that I'm just adding it to the bottom of the leaves. Some of them are changing the color at the tip of the leaves. And again, when I have them all ready, I'm going to set them aside to dry, and I'm going to start working on assembling the flowers. And that is super simple by using the keyhole system. So I'm just using, if you see the back of your package, it actually comes with the instructions on how, or the steps on how these flowers layer. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm getting the first group of petals, then getting the second one on top, then you have your guide to at your center, then you have something to cover that hole, and then you have this little ring that is going to create that give you that dimension to the flower. So I'm going to take my time and build all of them, and then I'm gonna set them aside to dry completely, and then I'm gonna work on my layout. So one of the things that I love about the the inspiration card is that she had a frame within a frame. So I am actually, for my page, I'm not going to use cardstock, I'm actually using pattern paper. So this is printed paper, and I want to make sure that I cut my paper, like the printed paper, that is going to go to the size of my layout that I have already there. Once I have that, if you see the card, she has, like I said, a frame within a frame. So I've already framed the stencil within the white cardstock, but I need to frame that within the paper. So I'm going to trim my edges of the stencil area so that it fits within the constraint of the paper. And this is the left hand side is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and the right hand side is 5 1/4 by 8 1/2. So just so you know the measurements. So all I'm going to do is kind of follow the idea that it's in the card and create a cluster on the bottom left corner of my layout. I'm going to go heavy. I'm going to use one of each of the flowers. I'm going to help myself with the leaves. If you look at the example, she used little branches to extend it. I don't need to do that. I'm just going to use the leaves. I'm going to cluster a few more. I'm trying to have like a nice combination of all the leaves, and also use the ones that are kind of on the thinnest to extend the look of the cluster. Once I'm happy with what it looks like, I'm gonna glue it. I glue it nicely, and then I'm using the new stamp set. This is Autumn Whispers. I think it's gonna be available soon, and I'm just adding a sentiment on the bottom of the picture. Now for my title, I'm gonna follow the idea that is in the card, and she used I am using the One Go Solid Sentiment Strips number 3, the press plate, and I'm gonna use the one that says Forever Grateful, because it's like, this is my gratitude journal, and this is day 29. So I added the numbers to the center of the pictures, and that's about it. Like, this took me, I'm not gonna say it took me no time. It took some time because I had to cut all the flowers and I had to color them and let them dry, but it was fun to put together. It's a great idea to bring that autumn feel to your pages, kind of on the romantic side of autumn with all these florals. And I hope you enjoy it, and it gives you an idea for a project of your own. You can find more details on the blog, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you so much for joining.
Wait, we have more where that came from. If you're after fabulous card making tutorials, you are definitely in the right spot. Our amazing design team create and upload fabulous video tutorials right to this YouTube channel. If you don't want to miss another amazing crafting tutorial, don't forget to subscribe and click that fun red button that you can see. Let's become paper crafting experts together.